What's up, people? It is now 8:53 in the night. Came from work. Family just came back together, so we talked a little bit, and about to talk to you guys about the Snyder Cut. As you can see from the information you see in front of you, it's hashtag release the Snyder Cut movement updates and much more. I'm going to start off with a piece of scripture, but first, let me just move to close some doors here. Somewhat unfortunate, but the way how things go in this house, some family members came back, and as soon as I start recording, they they literally start talking louder. Maybe because they don't approve of what I'm doing, whatever, man. But I had the house all to myself for about 5 weeks. It was great, but now with other people in the house, it gets a little bit complicated. Anyways, man, so I want to read to you guys from the book of Micah. Micah chapter 1. It says, "Hear, all you people. Listen, O earth, and all that is therein. Let the Lord be witness against you, the Lord from his holy temple. For behold, the Lord comes out of his place, and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth. And the mountains shall be molten under him, and the valley shall be cut in half, and shall wax as a fire, and the waters that pour down a steep place. For the transgression of Jacob is all this, and for the sins of the house of Israel." All right, I think I read this last night, possibly, but I did read this today. And for those of you who didn't see my last video, it's okay. You can try to check it out, but it has a lot of expletives. It's like rated R. I won't be going through that today. I was just angry, though. That's what happened. But I just wanted to share this with you guys as scripture. Again, it's really talking about correction and getting things in balance, so the wicked, would not destroy everybody. Sometimes just seeing the effects of things leads. I was talking to a guy today while I was selling. I was like really killing it today. And while I was selling, though, I was talking to a guy about consequences. People always feel that, they can get away from scot-free with doing something that is wrong. No, you never get away. You never do. You never do. And that's just the truth. It always comes back to haunt you later on in your life. Whatever you put out comes back. That's how it is. Go sowing and reaping. So I wanted to share that with you guys again. And everything I do as well, good or bad, it comes back on me. And so that's why you try to be as responsible as possible with what you do and what you put out there. It's better to give than to receive, however. All right, so you can leave your comments in the chat section. We're talking about release the Snyder Cut movement. Let me just see if anybody's here first of all, so that if anybody says anything, and nobody said anything, but there are some people viewing. Okay. So you can always say hello if you feel like it and are inclined to say hello in this video. I'm not going to be ranting and raving and behaving bad today, so don't worry about it. So we're going into screen share because what I want to share with you guys is a couple links that I think are important if you are a part and parcel of the Release the Snyder Cut movement. And so let me get to those links right now. So the first one that I don't know if you guys have signed it is you should go to change.org. I will put the link into this at the side in the chat section. Change.org, and there's a petition that was started by a particular person. If you want to see the details of the petition, you can. This is the details here, and this was started by a gentleman named Roberto Mata. Okay, it was a petition to Warner Brothers, and it has 178,715 signatures, and they're trying to get to 200,000 signatures. Now, while I never really completely agreed with the entire petition, I have since that time started to agree with more and more of it. I haven't gone through it. I just agree with the petition, which I think is a sensible and a good petition. You have to excuse me. I am very, very tired. And so as a result of that, I suggest you guys sign that petition, and not only sign it, but also you should share the petition. So that's the first step I would like to first of all, encourage each and every one of you to do. And to do so, I'll just put the petition link in the chat section. It's pretty long, but nonetheless, put it in there. Oh, it exceeds the word limit. Okay, fine. Must be another way to do this. Let me see. I can share it on Facebook, but not all of you guys are here on Facebook. Okay, I copied the link. Good. So maybe now I'll be able to paste that link. Oh, it's a pretty long link, unfortunately. It's a very, very long link. So I cannot paste that link into the chat section, which is pretty unfortunate. So I'll try and paste that link in the, okay, what just happened there? Shit. I just stopped sharing, didn't I? Click stop sharing. Okay, there you go. We were fine again. Hide. That's what I really wanted to do. Okay, so I can't paste that link in there, but I will try to put it in the comment section, okay? Try to put that link in the comment section for the video afterwards, so you guys can go and get that. The other link that I want you guys to check out is the Release the Snyder Cut Volunteers Survey. And this is by, her name is somewhere around here. Fiona Zhang. Okay, Fiona Zhang is the name. She's pretty good at organizing, and she has a site called For the Snyder Cut, which is really cool. It's for the SnyderCut.org. Fiona Zhang. So what you can do is you can also fill out this volunteer survey, which is important for organizing different people for the different skill sets and facets they have for this movement. Okay, let me see if I can put that maybe into the chat section. Yes, I can. So the survey is now in the chat section. You can click on the survey and you can go and fill out that survey. It's very important to go ahead and do so. So it kind of collects data on it, and I can go through the survey if you guys want. So the survey pretty much is list your name. As you can see here, your name, you have to put your name, your email, where you're living at present, you know, what country or what state. Are you a citizen of the United States or not? You have a yes, no. It's a yes, no thing. How old you are. And you don't have to give your exact age. As you can see, if you're under 18, that's one thing. If you're an adult, it's a different story. And what's your profession? It's not what's your professional, but what's your profession. And which of the following categories you belong to. And you can pick, you know, multiple categories. If you're a Zack Snyder fan, if you're a DC fan, a DCEU fan, if you just love high quality movies, or you're supporting creative integrity. So you can click all of them, some of them, none of them. How much time do you spend on Release the Snyder Cut campaign per week? And there's actually a scale for this. So it's it goes from 1 all the way up to 19, I think. Yes. No, it goes up to 20. Great. It goes up to 20, so you can you know, do it as you so fit. Oh, this stupid thing does it. All right, you can enter your whatever that is. Which social platforms are you using? If you use Twitter, Facebook, Vero, Reddit, Instagram, YouTube, others, you can put them in the comments there. Then she asks to briefly tell us why you're supporting the movement. The next thing is, are you willing to volunteer, work online, offline for the release of the Snyder Cut campaign? Do you have any of the following specialties? If you have graphic design, that would involve memes. If you have writing skills, you've written pieces. Offline activity, events organizing. So if you can organize events and activities for people to be able to, come together and do certain things. If you have web design or coding, okay, that means you can write code. If you can video edit, right now I'm doing a video here, a stream. So this is kind of like video editing. Legal assistance, where you can provide legal assistance, and other facets that can help the movement. And this is a very telling question, which I really like. She said, how did you feel after 2018 San Diego Comic-Con? All right. And remember, the Snyder Cut wasn't really addressed there. And 12, briefly, why do you think Warner Brothers hasn't released the Snyder Cut? That's a very good question. That'll tell where you are at. 13, do you think the attitude the attitude of Warner Brothers towards the Snyder Cut Justice League will reflect their direction of future DCU films? A very important question, I do believe. 14, which way do you think is the most effective to push WB to release the Snyder Cut? Now, it's just two choices, but it could, you can probably state a clarification, maybe here or in above, where you can suggest maybe a combination of both, or maybe one, but you say you side with one. I sided with peaceful and positive requests, but that does not mean that I don't think that boycotting until they comply is not an option on the table, particularly if the stuff you're boycotting is something you're not even interested in, right? And when I say boycotting, I think, first of all, let me just make this abundantly clear. As a DCEU fan, I don't think anybody should influence you as to what you should do. So if somebody suggests that you boycott a film and you like the film, you should do that. You should like the film and not even listen to them, because I think DCU fans can think for themselves. And that's the nice thing about it. They're not blind fandom and they don't just follow people, right? Hopefully that's the case. So you should be able to make up your own damn mind, because the DCU is founded on choice. So you should be able to choose your own, what you want to do, right? However, I don't think the word is boycotting, but if you do not like a particular film, or you don't like what you're seeing in the trailers and stuff, then I suggest you don't go see it. Not meaning that I'm telling you don't go see it, but take for instance, I saw the trailers for Thor Ragnarok, knew I was not going to like it, went in to see Thor Ragnarok and realized that it was just not a film for me. So if you don't feel impressed to go see a film, why would you go see the film to get angry, right? So that's what I mean. Now, having said that, I'm not saying that you should boycott anything, and even the upcoming films you shouldn't boycott, and you should also not vilify people for going to see the films. Absolutely not. If they want to see the films and they're excited about the films, they should go see it. If you're not excited about a film and you don't really want to go see that film, then don't go see the film. That's my perspective on it. But there are some people going out there saying hashtag boycott the DCU films or boycott Aquaman or whatever. Those people, I'm not going to talk to them anymore about what they should or shouldn't do and where they want to. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, while I prefer peaceful and positive requests to Warner Brothers, I do understand that Warner Brothers has violated trust and basically has behaved a certain manner in which some people, as you saw, even myself, turned out to be abusive towards them. Quite frankly, Warner Brothers doesn't care. Okay. They're interested in making money, and words don't mean squat to them. So you can insult them how much you want. It doesn't make a difference. What the bottom line is what is important to them. Of course, they would love to be appreciated and get raving reviews. Now, having said that, for business, that is. Now, having said that, I just want to also say that there's a couple of things I think I'm not really making verbalize, and it's probably because I was angry, but I think those people who know me know I really appreciate what Warner Brothers has done with the comic book universe. They're the studio that gave us a lot of great comic book movies and a lot of good comic book movies we appreciated. So for that, and not only just comic book movies, but they have also given us movies, which are really awesome. All right. So, just by the way, I'm not saying that I hate Warner Brothers or anything like that. I was just venting. And when I was venting publicly online, which is now a part of public record, I was angry about what they did and angry how they proceeded with certain directors. And that's all. So it's not necessarily that I hate Warner Bros. Or I don't think that they have done some great things or they have allowed their company to do fantastic things. I think that they are one of the more director compliant kind of studios. And I wish they would just stick to that. But I guess they have to dabble in things and try and change things. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that they end up, you know, finding their way as to what they really are, because apparently they don't know what they are as a studio in terms of comic book movies. I think in terms of other movies, they know who they are. They're pretty clear on that. But when it comes to comic book movies, I think they're still trying to find their way as to how to best relay comic book movies. And unfortunately, they don't seem to realize their quest to constantly become better. They have abandoned things that have made them good. And they thought that they really kept these things, but they haven't. So what I would try to suggest to Warner Bros. Once again is that you go with what the actual people who pay money to see your movies, not the people who screen your movies, not the people who say they're DC fans and they're yes men, not the people who are criticizing your movies heavily and they haven't gone to see it or they haven't patronized your movies heavily. And certainly not the people who are critics who criticize your movies, but they're not paying a dime to see your movies. You have to pay attention, Warner Brothers, first and foremost, before all of those other facets, to the actual people who go pay for your movies. You cannot take these people for granted. These are the people who actually put money in your pocket. So you need to tend to those people first before you think of tending to anyone else. That's what I would try to explain to Warner Brothers. You got to have a strong base, and that base, and you be consistent with them. Now, if you want to make other changes, make sure they're peripheral to what that base always expects. And that's the thing that Warner Bros. Still hasn't gotten. And yes, the base has been very, very forgiving to you for quite a while, you know, and also even for the inception of DC. But this is a different age, a different time where you have social media. And the base right now, the base that you count on you and that you're being, you're allowing people to be dismissive about, that's the base that's going to carry you forward. And if you stay true to what you are, it will work out just fine. But you have to stay true to what you are. And right now, the kind of trust you have with your base, thinking you'll replace your base with Marvel fans, it's just not going to happen. It's not a realistic proposition. You have to support your base. That's why the Release the Snyder Cut movement is so effective, and it's going to continue to be effective, and it continues to garner people outside of the industry as well as people inside of the industry. And it's building up steam, it's building up momentum. And the more stuff is leaked, is the more Warner Bros. Has no case, and they just need to simply give up the Snyder Cut. Whether it's perfect or not, give it up, because we already know, universally, everyone knows it's going to be a better cut than what we saw in the theatrical cut. It's just what it is. And we keep on getting tastes of it. So I just would say to Warner Bros., that's what you have to understand. And that's basically what my message has been, whether it's expletives or not. That's the message I'm trying to give them. And I'm trying to give them a sense of urgency and warn them about the impending doom that could come to them as a result of this. So I have tried to do this literally to help Warner Brothers so that they don't encounter difficulties later on. I think there's a lot of other Snyder Cut people and Zack Snyder people and DCEU people who would agree with what I'm saying. And I just believe that, you know, there are different ways to approach a thing. And you can't say that one way is superior to the other way. Yes, one is probably morally higher than another. For instance, leaking information that you know is confidential to a company is wrong. It's morally, ethically, and also legally wrong. But sometimes measures need to be taken where there's almost a civil disobedience in order to achieve the higher objective. And so that's why I said, if people are talking about boycotting Aquaman, that hopefully sends a signal to Warner Brothers, a panic signal or a signal of, hey, man, something needs to be done here. You guys are doing certain things a certain way, and it's provoking this reaction. So what I'm saying is that even those people who are talking about boycott Aquaman movement that's coming up, even that has its purpose in the Release the Snyder Cut movement, which is more than just Snyder Cut. It's about the Ayer Cut. It's about all of these other directors from the past that have not really truly gotten their say in what they really wanted to do with movies. And it expands to the future directors that they would be protected, that they will have coverage. So this movement is important. It's extremely important, and it's extremely important that Warner Bros. Understands as they're trying to define themselves, and they have to kick off executives and kick off directors and kick off different people. As they start to find themselves, they need to realize the pulse of what's really going on out there and not trick people, not try to manipulate that, but actually try to deliver on that pulse that they are getting. It's a strong pulse. But I have a feeling that the administrative arm of Warner Brothers is at loggerheads with the creative arm of Warner Brothers. And unfortunately, Geoff Johns has sold out, and he wants to have the executive arm on his side. And it seems as though he's really, hum-buddied with the executive arm. And he actually, who is a fantastic writer of comic books and has an inexhaustible knowledge of comic books, is crossing that boundary and trying to push towards more of a kind of bygone era, the 1978 era with Superman, Superman 1978. He's trying to push back to that era. He's also trying to, unfortunately for him, because he's got all these projects under his belt now, he's trying to kind of hearken more to the MCU. And he doesn't understand the DCEU is self-contained. What I mean by that is, whereas the MCU coming across to the DCU is possible, the DCU going across to the MCU, the MCU still can't sustain the DCEU. And Geoff Johns is trying to bridge that gap, obviously, but he also, that's his style of directing, or his style of getting movies, is an MCU style. It's an MCU approach to things when it comes to film or even television. You look at the CW, it's basically the MCU. You look at even Krypton, and it has shades of CW and the MCU in it. It was a much intriguing plot, which flopped at the end, in my opinion. But my point is, and it was just some really repugnant things, which I was able to excuse because I'm a guy who likes to give films a chance, or audio visual, TV, whatever, TV series, whatever. But I don't feel like going to see Krypton this season 2. I'm not really interested in Krypton because he snuffed everything out with Near Before Zod. That shit. He went right back to Superman 2 to do that, and I felt like that was not necessary in that film, and even the ending wasn't necessary. It was kind of nonsensical. And again, that's Geoff Johns. And what I'm saying to Warner Bros. And Geoff Johns, okay, and I don't discount that Geoff Johns is a fantastic creative person. Don't try to monopolize, and therefore, because you're jealous of certain people or you're hateful of certain people, try to sabotage them to get at the top. Because just like General Zod, Jor-El will say, you're a leader of nothing, because just as how Krypton was dying, so the DCEU will die under you. It wasn't dying before, but now it's going to die. So don't try to fight for position, Geoff Johns, to get everything embraced, because you and Kevin Smith have been bad talking to DCU for the longest while because you feel that this is going to work. You finally got a franchise for you to work. Okay, that's not the way how it goes. You can't give Warner Brothers. Point number 2, you can't boot out Zack Snyder. He is the guy that's important to your DCEU. You dare not boot out Christopher Nolan with his trilogy, but you boot out Zack Snyder for the DCU. You need Zack Snyder, not just as an executive producer, but as someone to be consulted with for information, for knowledge, as a sort of mentor to these younger directors in some way. Whatever support they need, he should be able to support them. The point behind it is, don't try to move away from what got you where you are. And you have to sometimes realize that the critical reviews and the detractors of the DCEU, they don't count as much as your fans. You should be in touch with your fans. You should be trying to relate to your fans, find out what your fan base is, touch base with your fans first. And then if you want to proceed to try and get more wider out, why don't you communicate with your fans and get feedback from them how best to do so that it satisfies them and also satisfies a wider audience? That's what you should have done. That's just my thoughts on the situation. And just continue with Fiona was doing. Oh, Jesus. So, number 15 says, What were the what were the shortcomings of the past release the Snyder Cut movement, you think? I personally didn't think they had any shortcomings. I just think that Warner Brothers was determined to go a certain direction, and that's just what it is. 16. Do you have suggestions and plans for the Release the Snyder Cut campaign you love to share? One though important shortcoming of the Release the Snyder Cut, some people were just giving inaccurate information, period. And they were lying about certain things. It's just what it is. But do you have suggestions, plans for the Release the Snyder Cut campaign you'd love to share? I'm sure you guys will have some ideas. And that's basically it there. And you can submit that. So I just wanted to show you the survey by Fiona Zhang. Personally, I think this is a wonderful thing, and it will organize people into what they can do for the movement. And she's just going to gather that data, first of all, and then get other things done. This is her, by the way, her website, which I find very, very awesome. Okay. The last thing I wanted to share with you guys is this. It is mostly just a rumor, but DC was, no, that's the thing. Okay. This is it here, right here. Okay. So Fiona Zhang says about 4 months ago, Pablo Pereira, this is 4 months ago, said, it says that Walter Hamada, it was a rumor, and Zack Snyder have met a few times during the week, and there was a secret projection of the Snyder Cut, and Hamada approves it and is around 95% finished. And Hamada is happy with the Snyder Cut, and also it's going to be in Blu-ray and cinemas in March of 2019. And this is just a rumor, so don't take it as something big, but it's just a rumor, and we don't move on rumors, so we just are keeping the pressure on, and we're doing what we need to do. But this was a rumor. I'm not too sure where it was circulated from or what, but it's a rumor that Zack Snyder met with Walter Hamada. Walter Hamada liked what he saw after Zack Snyder had showed him whatever it was he had to show him. And so there's talk about it coming out March 2019, and it will be on Blu-ray and in cinemas as well. Now, I don't know how true that is, so take that with a grain of salt, all right? You know, I try to deal with facts. I don't try to deal with rumors. But I wanted to share this with you guys so you would understand where the Release the Snyder Cut movement is, as well as give you some updates and tell you what you can do. Again, you can sign the petition. I will try to put that in the, I can put it in the description, or I can put it in the chat section. So not chat section. I can't fit it in the chat section. I put it in the description, or I can put it in the comment section. All right. Then this is the survey. I put it already in the chat section. It's at the top of the chat section. Just scroll upwards. You'll see it there. You can click on the link and you can fill out, and then you can find out what role you're going to be in the Release the Snyder Cut movement. Fiona Zhang will contact you, I'm pretty sure, via your email. And then, of course, this last bit of information I just gave you, which is a rumor. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat section. Let me come out with this so you guys can just see my face. Let me stop that there. All right, guys. So DJ Lawson Found says, good evening, Anson. Good evening to you, DJ Lawson Found. I just want to apologize, DJ Lawson Found, for cursing and swearing the last day. I was really, really angry at the time. So I'm really sorry. I apologize. Okay. Just remember, guys, I see Leroy Kong said that he signed the petition, which is cool, but you can also click on the forsnydercut.com Release the Snyder Cut survey. All right, you can fill out that, Leroy Kong. It's above in the chat section. If you look in the chat, top of the chat section, you'll see Christ I Am Disciple, and you see the link. Click on that, and you can start working on that. Giovanni De Adario, what's up, dude? Pound, bro. Nice pound to you there, Giovanni Dario. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm still angry, but I'm processing. So I'm trying to, I'm trying to process and be as positive as possible, because I do believe we need to be positive. Leroy Khan says, hello, great live video as always. Yes, shout out to you, Leroy Khan. You are a true fan. And then Leroy Khan says, Zack Snyder was sabotaged. No doubt about that, brother. No doubt about that. Leroy Khan says, I already signed the petition. That's good. Don't forget you can sign. Now you should go in and not just sign, but fill out the For Snyder Cut survey. DJ Lawson Found says, thanks for the apology, bro, but I'm not here to judge. I know, but I'm a Christian and all that too. But that's not even it. That's just the fact that I kind of lost it and went off the deep end, you know, and that wasn't cool. I shouldn't really be allowing myself to go there and be so negative, you know what I mean? So I'm just saying. Anyways, guys, what are your views? If you guys want to tell me, what are your views on what I just said about the rumor, about the release of the Snyder Cut survey, about the petition? If you guys have anything to say about that, otherwise I'm going to end this video right here and now. And this will be probably one of my shorter videos in the chat section. But once again, I think that it's not just about Zack Snyder. It's about David Ayer. It's about the direction in which Warner Brothers is going in that I'm kind of nervous about and uncertain about. And again, most of this is not because I hate Warner Brothers. It's actually because I would like to see them do the right thing so that they don't find themselves in trouble and the DCU does not fall. By the way, it's not called the World of DC. It's called the DCEU. World of DC was just a banner that was there since 2016. It's still called the DCEU in my opinion. I'm still calling it that. But at the end of the day, that's what you have to look at, what you're doing. You know what I mean? You have to look at what you're doing. And if you are at the end of the day, you're doing something that you realize the fandom doesn't really particularly like, that supports your movies, that pays for your movies, you should probably change direction unless you have some kind of substance there, you know? Anyways, that's what I got to say. If you guys have nothing else extra to say, this video is going to come to an end, which would not be a problem. I'm sure you guys have other things to do with your day. I wish you guys the best. Peace to you guys. And always try to stay positive, be a beacon of light towards the world. Anything you sow out there, you will reap. So just remember to try and sow positive, good things as much as is possible. Anyway, deuces to everybody. I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a good evening. God bless. Deuce.